Hello, everyone. Welcome to Math 105 Online. My name is Troy Minogue. I'll be your instructor for the course. My goal for this recording is to kind of just talk through what we would do on day one. Talk through the syllabus, talk through kind of the expectations, some of the resources I have out there for you, this idea of RP Now and how to take our unit tests, and just kind of give you an overview of the course. So let's get rolling. I am an instructor at KPC, so that's why I'm on this KPC website. If you want to get to Blackboard, which if you're watching this recording, you've already been there, but here's Blackboard. You'll click on that and log in that way. I've already done this, so I'm going to jump into Blackboard. First place I would go, and again, if you are watching the Start Here recording, you've already been here, so click on the Start Here recording. These are a little different because I'm doing a new recording. That was from 2020. So otherwise, but you'll see basically the same kind of thing right here. Next thing you're going to want to do after you watch the Start Here recording is read the syllabus. And we're going to go through most of the syllabus today. So you probably don't have to read it as thoroughly as you would if you weren't watching this recording. But just make sure you read the syllabus and know everything in the syllabus. The syllabus is a contract between you and I, saying you know what is expected and I know what I can expect from you. So this is kind of my plan, is to just cruise through here. So I'm not going to read all this basic stuff. Cruise down here to the important stuff, or kind of where it starts affecting you and this course. Student attendance, we don't attend class because it's online. There is no what's called a synchronous portion where you have to meet Tuesday night at 7, or there's nothing like that. It's just all whenever you have time, you log in and work on your stuff. So student attendance would be consistently or keeping up on your access to Blackboard, checking your email, and things like that. I email all my announcements as well as post them to Blackboard. So if you're not keeping up on or keeping tabs on your email, you might be missing some announcements unless you're doing a great job of always checking the announcements on Blackboard as well. If you contact me during the week, you can expect a response within 24 hours. A lot of times it's the same day. If I happen to be on my email, it could be within 10-15 minutes. But you can expect it within 24 hours. If you contact me on the weekend, you can expect a response by Monday. But sometimes I'm on my email throughout the week, and then you can expect it, throughout the weekend, and you can expect it sooner. I do not have my email linked to my phone. I do not want it out with me when I'm fishing, etc. So if I'm gone for the weekend, you won't get a response until Monday. All right, so there's that part. Let's get into the course. So your course is broken down into 2 units. Unit 1, Unit 2. Unit 1 is chapters 8, 9, 10, 11. And Unit 2 is chapters 12, 13, 14. We'll jump back over here to Blackboard, kind of show that to you in a different way. Get rid of my recording deal. So you can see that in the course content. No, I don't want to go there. I'm going to go to assignments. You can see that in the course assignments. Everything is broken into 2 units. Okay, so Unit 1, chapters 8 through 11. While we're here, your homework consists of 1 set of problems for every chapter. Chapter corresponds to the optional textbook. So if you don't purchase a textbook, the chapter really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's just topics now, but that's okay. But it is based upon the optional textbook. I typed every single question. Some come from the textbook, some come from me. So you do not need a textbook to do your homework. All your homework, I'm going to click on this. So I'm going to click on the homework. All your homework is typed out. Your homework is all multiple choice. Your test is not. some multiple choice, but I would say less than 50% multiple choice. So why is your homework multiple choice when the tests are not? So years past, students would do their homework on paper, scan it, email it to me, and then I would grade it, get it back to students, and so on. That's not super timely. I can get a quick turnaround, but it's just trying to coordinate when the homework is submitted and when I see it to grade it, and then when I can get it back. The homework can be submitted twice. Every homework assignment can be submitted twice. Well, that time or that untimely grading just makes it really hard. If you are submitting your homework the day it's due, you may not get a chance to get a second submission. Multiple choice is a nice way of submitting it where you get immediate feedback. Here's the concern, is if you're just simply guessing. You get behind 1 week and you're just needing to get something in and you just run through it and you just guess. I get it. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but it may. The problem with that is you got 50%, maybe even you're a great guesser and you got 75% on your homework and you think, I got this, and you really don't. Okay, so I highly encourage you to do your homework as if there's no multiple choice there. Take the problem, graph each function. I would sit down with a piece of graph paper or make my own grid, and I would graph that function. Then I would look at my options and see which one is correct. These homework assignments have been used for probably 4 semesters now, maybe a couple more. So there are no mistakes, I think. So if you find an answer that is, or you get an answer that is not one of these, chances are you did something wrong. Okay, most of these questions have been fixed, rewritten, and so on, where they're pretty good questions now. Okay, so once again, don't use all your good multiple choice strategies to eliminate options and all that good stuff. Sit down with a piece of paper, do the homework problems, every single one of them, and then come back and see if they are one of the questions. Okay, so you go through, you do all these questions, and you think question one is A, you think question 2 is B. I'm just kind of throwing these out here. I'm not saying these are the answers. You think question 3 is C, and so on. How do you submit it then? Okay, so to submit it, I'm going to go back to Blackboard. Underneath tests, don't let the word test make you think it's a test. It's simply, just like I say, chapter homework quiz. It's not really a quiz, it's just a way of submitting the homework. And one of those ways of submitting is through tests on Blackboard. So I go to tests and I click on the chapter 8 homework. This test can be saved and resumed later. It allows multiple attempts, 2. And I'm going to click begin. Question 1, what did I think it was? I think I thought it was A. Question 2, I thought it was B. Question 3, I thought it was C, and so on. Notice question 1, 2, and 3, how fast they turn to saved. It saves automatically. So as I'm clicking through here, I think 4 is D, I think 5 is B. Notice they've already saved about 10, 15 seconds and they're saved. Why do I bring that up? I'm cruising through here. I have my homework all done, written on a piece of paper, and I'm just transferring the answers from my paper onto Blackboard. The phone rings, and my kid's school calls, and my daughter is sick, really needs me to come right now. I don't have time to finish putting in the other 25 questions. Okay, just leave. They've already been saved. Okay, when you come back later, they're going to be there, and you just pick up on question 6 and keep on going. All your answers are sitting on your paper in front of you. It's no big deal. Okay, if you want to do these as you go, that's totally fine too, because they're just being saved as you go. Okay, so there's some options on how you submit your homework. Okay, I don't think you'll ever use this link. I'm not sure why it's there because it saves it automatically. So why would you click Save All Answers? They're already saved. This is the one you want. When you're done, okay, do not click this button until you are done. Click Save and Submit. When I click Save and Submit, it's going to give me a error or a warning saying, do you really want to submit this? You're missing a whole bunch of questions. I can either click OK, but you shouldn't do that because you're missing a whole bunch. I'm going to click Cancel, and I'll go back here and finish. Okay, but when you're done, click Save and Submit. All right, we'll get out of here. Okay, so there is homework quizzes. Notice you have, get out of here. Notice you have one per chapter. Okay, so when are these due? Back to the syllabus. This is, you can read all this about your homework. Basically, it's what I just said. At the very end, I would definitely, if you're not going to print the whole syllabus, at least print this page and stick it somewhere safe where you can see it all the time. Here's your deadlines. So Chapter 8 homework was due, or is due, September 3rd. Notice Chapters 8 and 9 are simply 1 week long. So you have a week to do Chapter 8. You have a week to do Chapter 9. Chapter 10 is now 2 weeks. Chapter 11 is 2 weeks. And then we have our test. Okay, so just make sure you pay attention. There are 2 chapters that are only 1 week long, and the rest are 2 weeks long. Okay, so maybe put those on your calendar. Do whatever you need to do to stay organized. You have due dates listed here and up here, so there's no mistaking when your assignments are due. Here's the amount of points per assignment. Here's the amount of points per test. And here's your total points that are available for this course. Okay, homework assignments, 1 per chapter, 1 per week for the first couple weeks, and then it's 1 per 2 weeks. Okay, the 2 week long chapters are obviously a little bit longer, but not a ton longer, but they're usually a little bit harder. My guess, if this is a review for you, maybe you took Algebra 2 or pre-calc even in high school, and you just need to brush up. This might be, I don't know, 1 to 2 hours per homework assignment. Until we get to some logarithms and things like that, then my guess is it's going to take quite a bit longer. For most of you, it'll be probably 3 to 4 hours per chapter. Now, that's not saying they're all going to be like that, but there's going to be times when you have to go back in and watch my recordings, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. So that just kind of gives you a guideline of what to expect. All right. I'm going to stay on homework for a second. Let's go back to Blackboard. So assignments is where you find your assignments. Course content is where you find resources. So we have how to use RP Now recording. I'm going to skip that. Unit 1 recordings. I've made a recording for every chapter and every topic in that chapter. So if you are struggling on what a relation and a function is, if you're struggling on function notation or any of these graphing equations like question 1, I have a recording that talks about every single topic in each unit. Pretty much are in line with the homework. So if you are looking for questions like 1, 2, 3, it'll be in one of the earlier videos. If you're looking for questions from, help from questions 18, 19, 20 towards the end, it's probably going to be down in here. Only difference is probably chapter 8. Most of this is just informational. There's not a lot of questions. There's a couple, but there's not a lot of questions on these topics. Most of the stuff comes from graphing and composition of functions. But anyways, but most of the time you can kind of get, these are kind of in order. Click on this recording, just like you click on the recording you're listening to now. Hit play. Slow it down, speed it up. Sometimes you have to click unmute. I don't know. I think it's up here somewhere. Sometimes you have to unmute it to hear it, but they should all play. I haven't had any problems in the last few terms, so I think they're all good to go. Okay? If you are struggling, I would highly encourage you to watch these recordings. If you want to get the most out of the class and you have time, I would watch every single recording, because there's times I talk about things that aren't on the homework, and it's just good information that you're going to use in future courses. My recordings, I'm going to hit play. It's going to start playing, so it might be kind of weird, but I want to see the time on it. Oh, never mind. It says it right there. So the duration of this one is 12:20, 10 minutes. This one's kind of long, 22 minutes, but most of them are 20 to 30 minutes, some a little shorter at 10 or 15 minutes. Not a whole lot of time, but it adds up. I get it. If you watched all of these for Chapter 8, you're probably looking at 2 hours of recordings. But if you're going to a face-to-face course, excuse me, if you're going to a face-to-face course, you're spending 2-3 hours in the classroom. And so this is not much different than if you just sat through every lecture. What's nice about an online course is if I'm rambling on about something that you already know, you can just fast forward me. You can play me at 1.5, 1.75, etc. Okay? Use this to help you when you get stuck, or just to help you watch every single, just to help you understand the course by watching every single one. Okay. I think we've done most of the written work, if not all. Let me just scan through that real quick. Yeah, just there's a couple things I say in here, just kind of my suggestions. Use homework for what it's intended. The goal of homework is for you to know whether you understand the material. If you went through the homework problems and you got a 50% the first time through, you didn't really get it. Okay? Maybe you just kind of were seeing, what do I know? And you didn't learn anything. You just tried to go by what you learned in high school. And you didn't take time to go watch the recordings and so on. That would definitely tell me, if I did that, that I need to go watch some recordings. If you're doing that, like every single time you just try it, I'm just going to try it and see how I do. As you're going through the problems, you know whether you know how to do the problem or whether you're just winging it. If you're just winging it, I would stop and go read the textbook if you have one, or go watch my recordings if you're not buying the textbook. Treat homework as a chance for you to test what you know. Okay? So don't just do the homework problems to get the answer. One more time. Don't just do the homework problems to get the right answer. Do the homework problems as a test to see, do I understand how to do these kind of problems? If you consistently get it wrong, you got it wrong the first time, you went back through, you tried it again, you got it wrong again, you don't know how to do it. Okay, so you need to go in and figure it out. Either email me, said I've watched the recording, I've tried the problem, I just can't get it. What's going on? And most of the time, I'll give you another problem to try. Or you may say, can you give me another problem to practice and show me how to do one, or something like that. If you can't do the homework, you can't do the test. Okay? If you can't do the homework, you can't do the test, because the test questions come from the homework, or at least the topics do. So another comment on that is, don't wait. The homeworks are due Sunday night. So if you looked at these dates, these are all Sundays, except for the last Unit 2, the term ends on a Saturday. But all of the other due dates are on a Sunday night at midnight. Don't wait till Sunday night at 10 o'clock to submit your homework. And then give yourself only 2 hours to try to make corrections, figure out what you did wrong, ask for help. I get it. There's going to be a week when you are running late and you're going to do it Sunday night. But that is not the best use of your homework. And you know all this. You've taken a lot of math courses. So just make sure your homework is being used as designed, and your tests will go much, much better. Okay, Each homework can be submitted twice. That's pretty big. All right, I think that's it for homework. So down to the bottom again, every unit is made up of multiple chapters and has a unit test. So unit 1 is made up of chapters 8, 9, 10, 11. Testing window, October 2nd through October 22nd. I used to do a 1-week testing window a long time ago, about 10 years ago. I used to do a 1-week testing window. That didn't go so good. Students were late all the time, couldn't fit in the tests in the testing window. So I moved it to a 2-week testing window. Things got better. And then I think about 3 years ago, I changed it, maybe 4 years ago, I changed to a 3-week testing window. Since then, usually no problems. Okay, so you have 3 weeks. What does that mean? This is a required course for an operation degree or an instrumentation degree or a nursing degree or several things that have shift work. 3 weeks should be plenty of time. It is plenty of time to get your test done, even if you're working a 3 and 3 on the slope. If you happen to be working a 3 and 3, that corresponds perfectly to October 2nd and October 22nd. That does not mean you're excused and you can take it late. I've been on the slope. I've worked on the slope. There is, I won't say plenty. There are places you can hide out, find a quiet place with decent internet connection, and you can take the test at work. Is it fun? No. I get it. You're working 12-hour shifts. You got travel. You got food. You got all that stuff. It would be hard, but it is doable. But most likely, your shift will not be exactly October 2nd through October 22nd. So plan accordingly. You know your rotation. Okay, just make sure you are getting your test done during that window and you're being responsible. Okay, you were all adults, so I'm not going to harp on that anymore. Take your test in that testing window. Okay, here's what I do know. Family emergencies happen. Okay, so something major happens. You're planning on taking it October 18th. You're being responsible. You're doing it 4 days early in case there's a technical glitch and you need to do it another day. But something happened big. You got sick and ended up in the hospital. Your spouse or your kid got sick and ended up in the hospital, etc. That stuff happens. Let me know, okay? And we'll deal with it. But simply saying, I'm not ready, or I had to work, nuh-uh. Okay, we have 3 weeks. Don't plan on taking your test on October 22nd. And then say, oh, my boss called me into work. Oop, guess I can't take it. No, you have 3 weeks. If that happened on October 18th, now you can take it on the 19th or on the 20th and so on. Be responsible. Take it in that testing window. Okay, so how do we take the test? You have 2 options. It is proctored. Sorry, I gotta get back to where we're at. Your 2 options. Take the test at one of UAA branches. So call up UAA, get online, and schedule an appointment to take your test sometime in that October 2nd through 22nd. If this is the option you choose, okay, you want to take it at one of the branches, you have to contact me, okay, because I have to send your test to those branches. So I need to know where you're taking your test. So just soon. I say in here the first 3 weeks, just soon. If you wait until test week, it'll just be stressful for all of us. Okay, so just try to get it done as soon as you can, and then I can get your test to the testing center and they're ready for you when you get there. So if you take your test at one of the UAA branches, contact me as soon as you can, and then put it on your calendar that you're going to take it at a testing center. Make an appointment with the testing center. Most testing centers want at least a week ahead of time. Not that you have to do it, but most of them would like you to contact them a week ahead of time. Why? Especially during midterms. Okay, for some classes, there are midterms. If you plan to take your test and it happens to correspond to the week of midterms, then the course or the testing centers may be full. So you're out of luck for the week you want to take it or the day you want to take it. So just contact them ahead of time. If you contact them the day before and they happen to have an opening, no big deal. If you contact them the day of and they happen to have an opening, most likely no big deal. But just, again, plan ahead. Make sure you have your babysitter ready. Make sure you have your scratch page or your notes page ready, which we're going to talk about here in a second. Okay? All right. So one option is taking your test at a UAA branch. Option 2. Excuse me. Sorry. Use RP Now. What is RP Now? Remote Proctor Now. So what does remote proctor mean? Pretty much what it says. It's a remote proctor. You can take it at home. You can take it at a library. You can take it anywhere you can find a quiet room with no math aids on the wall. Okay, and nobody else in the room. Okay, so if you want to take this at home, you do not, or use RP Now, you do not need to contact me. RP Now will always be available once the testing window opens. Okay, you can take it at midnight, 1 in the morning. You can take it at whenever you want. So this is a great option for those of you who have very busy schedules and you don't mind taking things on the computer. So the test is going to, if you do RP Now, you'll access the test online. There's going to be a password required, and the password is going to be automatically inputted by RP Now. You do not need a password. RP Now has the password, or they get it from my information I gave them, and it's automatically put into the test protocol as you go through it, and you're good to go. Make sure you have your photo ID. Make sure your room is empty. Make sure your scratch paper is empty, all that good stuff. I have recordings about how to do RP Now, and I'm going to talk more about it as we get close to the test. Notice, where was that at? Course content. How to use RP Now. Here's a recording on how to use RP Now. I am going to go back through and double check that nothing's changed in the last 3 years and double check that RP Now is still the same. But there will be a recording here, either this one or a new one that I make here in the next couple days. So there's going to be a recording. If you're unsure of how to use RP Now, I will walk you through step by step until the moment you hit start the test, and then you start the test. Okay, so don't let RP Now scare you off. All right. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So that's how you take the test. So what is these tests all about? So you have 2-unit tests covering the chapters that they cover. And how do I know what material I need to cover? There's a lot, test on. What do I need to review? What do I need to study? In 4 chapters, there's a lot to study. I'm glad you asked. So if I cruise back here, back to course content, cruise down here, review worksheets. Broken into 2 units, imagine that. Review worksheets. Unit 1 review worksheet. Click on Unit 1 review worksheet. And here's a whole bunch of practice problems covering the topics that you need to know how to do. There are 32 plus a bunch of ABCDs, so there's probably 50, 60 problems here, more than that. There's probably 70 problems here. Your test will not be 70 questions long. Your test will be more like 30 questions long. Okay, but it will consist of these questions, topics from these questions. So if you can do the review, you can do the test. Next question you probably would ask, how do I know if I'm doing them correct? There's no point in doing a whole bunch of problems wrong. You've learned nothing. So do your review and then come back through and check your work. And I do show my work. Sorry, some of that's kind of faded, isn't it? I think you can see it though. So you go do your work, come back, check out my work, check out the answers, and so on. What if you're still struggling on a question? You missed it, you have no idea what I did, and so on. You can watch my recording. So I've made a recording pretty long. First one's an hour, second one's a half hour, but I walk through every single question and talk through, not just showing my work, but I talk through my work on what I'm thinking, how I'm doing it, and so on. If you're still stuck on a topic and you're just, or you did them all and you did them all right, but you kind of feel like you got a little lucky on some of them and you just want some more practice, let me know. I can send you some more practice problems. We can talk through some topics. If you have the textbook, you can go into the chapter 8 review, chapter 9 review, that kind of stuff. Most people find that the reviews are enough. But if you need more, which definitely there will be at least one or two of you who will want more, that's okay. All right, so I've ran through the Unit 1 worksheet or a review worksheet, and I'm feeling pretty good. As I do this, I'm going to make notes. Sorry, find the right thing. So it's somewhere in there. You're allowed 1 page of notes for every unit test. So as I'm cruising through here, front back, 1 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. I cannot see it by scanning. You're allowed 1 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, front and back, for notes. Okay? As you're cruising through your review, I would definitely be taking my notes, things I'm struggling with, put down some examples of how to do certain problems, put down some common mistakes you're making, say don't do this, whatever. Okay, you know how to make notes. Do front back. Here's what I would highly encourage you not to do. Don't write so small that you need a microscope to read it, hoping to get as much on the notes as you can. Just put down the basics and just do enough problems before you get to the test that you're feeling pretty good. Okay, otherwise you're going to be scanning your notes and you're going to run out of time. Time limit. You have a 2.5 hour time limit. Okay, so you have 2.5 hours to complete the test. Most students take about an hour, hour and a half, and you know whether you're a slow test taker or not. You know whether every single test in high school you were the last one done, and you may be bumping that 2.5 hour time limit. I would say in the last 7 years that I've had a time limit, I've had maybe 1 or 2 that could not finish. Okay, I'm not saying you may not, there's some of you are slower test takers and you may not feel a little pressure towards the end, but I would say maybe 1 or 2 have not made it in that 2.5 hour time limit. Most of you will be done in an hour. Some of you are lightning fast, you'll be done in 45 minutes. Most of you about an hour, some about an hour and a half, and a few in the 2 hour range. Okay? All right, so do your homework. As you get towards the end of the homework, start looking at making a notes page, start looking at the review, and so on. Here's my thoughts. If I were taking the course, I would take the review like a test. I would do my homework, I would make my notes page, and then I would take my review like a test. Go through, answer, or grade my answers, and see how I did. Modify my notes for the ones I missed, the ones I had problems with, and then go from there. At some point in time, you have to sit down by yourself with no tutor, no help, and see what you know. After you've done, you should have done it with the homework, but now you have a second chance to do it on the review and see what you know. And that should give you a good indication of whether you're ready for the test, and you can walk into the test with confidence. There should be no reason why you can't walk into the test with confidence, unless you simply run out of time and you're not able to learn it as well as you would like to. Okay, but you should be able to do enough practice problems by yourself that you know, I got this, and you can walk in with confidence. Okay, that is the goal, is to do math with confidence. All right. Homework, Unit 1 tests, I think we're sitting pretty good. I'm going to send a lot more out on the test, and I'll send a little bit more out on the homework, but you should be good to go on the class. On that note, let's jump back here to Blackboard. Go back to tests, introduction quiz. Now that we've gone through everything that's expected, you can take the introduction quiz. So I'm going to go over here. Question 1, lectures are recorded for each section so I can listen to them as needed. That is true. And cruise through all of these and answer them all. The goal of the introduction quiz is just so that you and I mainly have a good idea that you know what's expected in the course. Okay? Recorded lectures are a good resource. Yes, that's true. Everyone must sign up for a proctor or proctor site, which will administer the unit tests. Notice this sign up for a proctor, that could be RP now. Okay, so that is true also, and so on. So as you cruise through here, okay, just answer them all. Once you're done, click Save and Submit, and I give you all the answers, the ones you got right and the ones you got wrong. Go back, read the ones you got wrong, make sure that topic is clear, answer it correctly, resubmit it. Do that as many times as you need to, but I give you all the answers, so there's absolutely no reason why you can't get 100%. Could you go through here and guess the first time through and just get 100% the second time? Absolutely. The whole point of this is to learn, not to get the grade. I know that sounds kind of corny, but my goal for you is to learn math and so on, and not just get a grade. So you do the same thing on the introduction quiz. The goal is not just to get 20. The goal is to make sure you understand what's expected in the course. And these questions kind of just walk through some of the highlights of what's expected in the course. So just make sure there's no questions or that you didn't miss any of these that you, and just go back and make sure you fix them all. Okay? No reason why you can't get a 20 or 100% on this introduction quiz. All right, back to syllabus just for one last cruise through. Here's your grade breakdown. I don't need to go through that. Here's your textbook. If you are looking for a textbook, there's your textbook. I think that's good. I'm going to run to the textbook site just for a split second. If you don't plan on texting or using the textbook, you can get out. You can stop the video. You're done. But if you think you might want the textbook, here's where we're going to go. xyztextbooks.com. As you can see, I've been there a few times. A couple options. Your very first time through, you're probably going to go to catalog instead of students. But once you have your textbook, you would go to students. I'm going to go to catalog. And I'm looking for my textbook. So I need to know, I can either copy and paste that ISBN number from here. Okay, I can copy that. Or it's super easy. I'm just going to cruise down here. Combined Beginning and Intermediate Algebra. This is both courses. Beginning was chapters 1 through 7. You're in intermediate, that's chapters 8 through 14. So I'm going to click on that. And bingo, there's my textbook. Algebra, a Combined Course, Edition 2 by McKeague. This is your textbook. You can do the print version, or you can do the e-version. And I think there was a different spot to go to get to the e-version. But there's the textbook you want. Okay, once you buy the textbook, I'm going to go ahead and click on that. It gives you a lot of options, a lot of resources. So I'm going to look at sample e-book, chapter 1. Notice you have your textbook over here, has examples, and then it has either the author or students, or both, doing those problems and talking through them. So you have videos going through every example problem, and there's a bunch. They do 14 example problems, and then the author gives a mini lecture on how to do different problems. So there is really a lot of resources. You can look at, nope. There we go. You can do practice worksheets. If you click on that student page or student link, there's a whole bunch of different supplements and progress and so on. Once you get your textbook, if you choose to buy one, go in here and start exploring. There's a lot of stuff here. How much of this is different than what I've already done on your website? Maybe not different, just more. Okay, so this, obviously the videos are similar to what I did, but there's just more of them. So you get different perspectives of how to do the problem. And here's more practice problems. And then normally there's a little icon on doing some practice problems. so I missed it a little bit. But I'm gonna do an overview of the textbook here, so you can check that video out also. But all right, there's your textbook, and I'm done. Thanks for watching the video. I highly encourage you to continue watching the videos, and they're a very similar format. You hear me, but don't see me. But I think they're good simply because I made them and I made the tests, and so they correspond directly. Instead of you watching some YouTube video about some professor in New York talking about his course, you get to hear it from me and what I think is important and what our university thinks is important and what's going to be on the test. So anyways, if you have questions, please feel free to contact me. This is not a correspondence course with no instructor. This is an online course. You have me as a resource. Use me. Okay. More to come later, but that should get you started. Have a good day.